The clatter of cutlery, the scent of fresh coffee, and the soft hum of a weekday morning filled the air at Millie's diner, a place where stories unfolded quietly over pancakes and worn-out booths. But that day, something happened that would change lives forever. A man dressed in an unassuming hoodie sat at the corner table, his eyes hidden beneath a cap. No one paid much attention to him. No one ever really did. But what no one knew was that beneath that casual exterior sat Daniel Kensington, tech mogul, billionaire, and one of the most powerful names in the country. And across the diner, running after her bouncing plush unicorn, was the only person who truly mattered to him, his 5-year-old daughter, Ellie. Ellie squealed as her toy slipped from her little hands and tumbled across the tiled floor. It skidded right into the legs of a young waitress balancing 3 steaming plates of eggs and toast. "Oh no, Sparkle!" Ellie gasped, teetering forward. The waitress, a woman in her late 20s with tired eyes but a warm smile, swiftly set the plates down, bent, and picked up the toy with surprising gentleness. She knelt down to Ellie's height and brushed the toy off carefully, as though it were something priceless. "Here you go, sweetheart," she said, handing Sparkle back with a playful wink. "You've got to hold her tight, or she'll run off on adventures." Ellie's face lit up with the unfiltered joy only children can express. She flung her arms around the waitress in a spontaneous hug, murmuring a tiny, "Thank you." Daniel stiffened slightly. Not because he feared strangers, but because genuine moments like that were so rare in his world, it was almost jarring. He watched as the waitress smiled again, touched by the child's warmth, before returning to her station. She moved with the grace of someone who had learned to hide pain beneath kindness. Daniel's eyes narrowed. He couldn't shake the feeling that this woman, who had just made his daughter smile, was quietly carrying a story of her own. After breakfast, as they left the diner, Ellie tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy," she was nice. "Can we come back tomorrow?" He smiled. "Maybe we will, Peanut." But he did more than that. The next morning, Daniel returned alone. He took a seat at the same corner booth, and again, she served him, smiling like always. Her name tag read Lena. He watched quietly. She treated everyone with the same warmth, no matter how tired she looked. She picked up spilled milk without scolding, listened patiently to the lonely old man at table 5, and wrapped a leftover sandwich for the homeless man outside. When she came to refill his coffee, he finally spoke. "You're good with kids," he said simply. She laughed softly. "I grew up looking after my baby brothers. Guess I never forgot how." "Do you have kids of your own?" he asked gently. The smile faltered, just for a moment. "No," she said. "But I did, almost. Long story." Daniel didn't press. But he left a $100 tip. And he came back the next day. And the next. Over time, their conversations grew longer. She told him about the fiancé she lost 3 years ago in a car crash, and the baby they'd almost had. She told him how she had to drop out of nursing school to take care of her mother, who later died of cancer. She told him about working 3 jobs just to survive, and how she volunteered at a children's shelter on weekends, because being around kids reminded her of the family she'd dreamed of. And she told him all of it without bitterness, only a quiet strength. Daniel found himself returning every morning, not just for the pancakes or Ellie's favorite strawberry milkshake, but for Lena. For her grace. For her courage. But one day, she wasn't there. The manager told him Lena had taken the week off. Her younger brother had been hospitalized. Kidney failure. He needed a transplant, and she was being tested as a donor. She's all he's got, the manager said. Daniel sat in the booth that day longer than usual, heart heavy. He had power, wealth, resources, and yet, here was a woman fighting every battle with nothing but resilience. He made a few calls. By the end of the week, Lena's brother was transferred to a private hospital with the best nephrologists in the state, fully covered. Anonymous sponsorship, the hospital said. Lena returned the following Monday, eyes red but hopeful. Her brother was stable. She didn't know who had helped, but she said a silent prayer for them every night. That morning, Ellie was with Daniel again. As they left the diner, Ellie looked back and waved. Lena waved too, but this time, her smile trembled. "Daddy," Ellie whispered as they got into the car. "Is she sad?" "Maybe a little," Daniel said. "Can we help her?" Daniel looked at his daughter, his world, his reason. And in that moment, he made a decision. That evening, Daniel invited Lena to the park. Just her, him, and Ellie. Under the fading orange sky, they watched Ellie chase butterflies while Daniel finally removed his cap and hoodie. Lena's eyes widened. "You're..." "Yes," he nodded. "I didn't want you to know at first. I wanted to know you. Not how you treat a billionaire, but how you treat a man. And I saw how you treated everyone, with kindness." She stood in stunned silence. "I know this is sudden," he continued, "but I've spent years around people who only smiled when they wanted something. And then I watched you hug my daughter like she mattered. Listen to strangers. Fight quietly for your family. And I realized something." He turned toward her fully. "I've been building companies for years. But I think, the real miracle is building people back up. You gave my daughter a moment of joy, and I've watched you give that to others over and over again. I want to do the same for you." "I don't want your money," Lena said softly, tears in her eyes. "I'm not offering money," he replied. "I'm offering a chance. I started a new foundation, for women like you. Fighters. Healers. Survivors. You'll be its first director. We'll sponsor your return to nursing school. And when you're ready, I'd like to talk about something more." Lena stood motionless, tears slipping down her cheeks. And little Ellie ran up between them, holding her plush unicorn. "Can Miss Lena be my friend forever, Daddy?" Daniel knelt beside her. "Yes, Peanut. If she wants to." Lena smiled, knelt too, and hugged Ellie tightly, just like the first time. Only now, it wasn't just a thank you hug. It was the beginning of a new chapter. And that's how a billionaire dad, just looking for pancakes and peace, found something more, in a waitress who had nothing, yet gave everything. Because sometimes, the smallest moments, a dropped toy, a spontaneous hug, are the ones that change lives forever. Kindness doesn't ask for wealth. But sometimes, it inspires it to move mountains.